Hello, everyone. I'm Annie Gibbins, and you're listening to Memoirs of Successful Women, the podcast where you get to hear candid conversations with fascinating women from around the globe who share aspects of their business and life journey, how they measure their success, and what they have learnt along the way. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. Today, I am interviewing Sheila Farr, who is the owner of Gulf Coast Consulting, and she created this company after 25 years working in the HR industry to really help businesses and individuals, groups, whoever, to achieve their next level of success. She's all about success, and she's super passionate about optimism. So, welcome to the program, Sheila.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk to you today.
Why do you call yourself the eternal optimist? Where does that come from?
Well, just because I am. I'm just a happy person, I think, by nature. And I really try to attack every day with optimism and just a note of positivity. And I found that the more I do that, the more it opens my eyes and my heart to kind of those things and helps me manage things better. Whatever emotions, feelings, business. When bad things, happen to me, it's like I feel like I have something a little extra to lean on with that. So I love being a cheerleader for other businesses and just trying to encourage people. So it's fun. It's fun.
It is certainly more fun being an optimist and being the cheerleader. And it's easier for people who have that natural tendency, right? So some people just have that, half glass full. Many of us also, I'm probably a glass overflowing just with enthusiasm for different things. And so how do you find people come through, after your years of working when they aren't a natural optimist? How do you turn that around? How do you help people with that mindset?
Well, it's fun, and it seems like it's a little bit infectious at times. Whenever you find business owners that are kind of struggling in what they're doing, and they're just not in a happy place anyway with their business or just anything. If you start showing them all the opportunities and possibilities that they have for growth, for change, for development, then they start to kind of, you can just feel it's just a complete different feeling. People just kind of lighten up and they sit up straighter, and a smile comes on their face, and they're not so downtrodden, and there's a sense of hope in them. So
Yeah.
I love doing that, and it's super easy when you're connecting people with their passions, when you're showing them better ways to do the things that they love, that are going to be more profitable, more beneficial, and more just able to sustain in business. I love it. It's just fun. Again, it's just a fun thing that I'm so fortunate to have an opportunity to do every single day. So
You're perfect for it, that's for sure. So those people who do come to you, disheartened, they're obviously coming for business coaching, transformation, all of that, and they don't have a positive outlook. They're not optimistic. They do come, shoulders slouched, body sort of, slumped, hard to crack a smile. What are the main reasons do you find that people come? What's taken them to that journey, to that moment?
oh gosh, it could be different things for different people. First of all, I think some people are just have that disposition. You have some people that just, that's just the way they are. They're just kind of flatline, matter of fact, and it's hard to kind of ignite enthusiasm in them. And it could be for any reason. Personally, they could have all kinds of personal problems or any sort of personal problem. And then in business, which is what I deal with, mostly, they could have been a small business owner that's been in business for a number of years and they're just not making money, or their processes aren't working, or they can't keep team members, and all sorts of things just kind of keep frustration, I think, on people sometimes, and confusion. They don't know what to do, and especially with what we've just gone through in the world with the pandemic, and how that's forced people to look at different ways of doing business. Some people just don't know how to do things. And
Yeah.
if you're not tech savvy and you can't take your business online, and you don't know how to, like everybody says, pivot. If you can't pivot your business into something that that you can do virtually, yeah, that would be, very frustrating. And it has been for a lot of people. But
Yeah.
it's, it's really good when people come and they're like, they don't know what to do and they're just open to whatever, and they say, okay, just give me something that will work for me. And I'm like, great, you're in the right place. I love it. Let's do this. So, it's, and you just try and explain a few concepts and processes, and usually it turns them right around. Now, sometimes it aggravates people and it irritates them because, they're like all sad and you're trying to pump them up and encourage them, and they're just not ready for it. So a little bit of it, I mean, you got to find a balance too, right? Some people aren't quite ready to receive that. So you just kind of have to play it by ear and just maybe spoon feed just a little bit at a time until they're ready for the whole dose of it.
Yeah. Well said. There's a lot of elements of change management, and it's drip feeding that as well. And a lot of that is developing trust. Because when they've been hurt or let down or things haven't been working, and they would have obviously, often by the time they've come out to a consultant, they have tried a lot of things and they've accepted advice from other people. And so they're at a level of, is this one going to work? So I can totally understand the mindset. So when they come across someone who's all peppy and positive and, oh, okay, well, let's just really get into this, it can be a very hard journey for them, because I find that people are sort of like going, okay, well, what are you going to do that's different for me? Which is fascinating. The other bit is, you mentioned the word pivot. And I think that's, that is the buzzword at the moment, particularly as we respond to the pandemic and where you've got to all pivot. But pivoting still means that if you were going one way, you can pivot to the other way, which is all fine. But if you don't know what that other way is, then, people can say, well, why don't you just pivot your business? But that's right. If you've always been office-based, more paper-based, face-to-face coaching, training, all of that sort of thing, and then someone just goes, just pivot your business, you've got to be quick and agile and responsive, then it must be fascinating. I'd love to hear from you, because of, your expertise in HR. How have people processed that? And what does that actually mean? How hard is it for them to learn those new skills to be able to pivot a business?
Well, I think it's of course it's different for everybody, but for the most part, people have skills and abilities in their business and opportunities in their business that they haven't really thought about, or they hadn't really thought about before. So even in our business, I was speaking with somebody the other day, and they're like, man, knowing you, I know that you do things very, I'm very regimented in the way that I process things and do things. Even though I'm a happy little person, I'm very structured. I have a flighty personality, but when it comes to business, I'm all business. So somebody was speaking with me the other day, and they're like, I'm looking at your offerings on your website, and there's so many different things. And I'm like, I told them, I said, that's because I give people what they need. So if somebody asks me if I do things, then I find a way to do that. If if I have the ability or skill to do that, or I know somebody that can do that for people, then I do that. So, and I think that a lot of the businesses that I've worked with, especially over the past 6 or 8 months, insurance companies, it's like, well, we just do insurance. Well, no, you do more than insurance. You can train people, you can train small business owners how to manage their insurance needs. In all these various different areas, so you can be a trainer. You're not, you don't have to be just an insurance company. And for physical therapists, there's telehealth. So how do you transition into telehealth for small practices? So I've had a really good time working with people, and thankfully they've kind of opened up and have been real open to doing some different things and kind of stepping out of those comfort zones and really being innovative about the way that they look at what they do. So that's been the exciting thing about the whole past couple of months. And I think even on into 2021, we can look forward to more of that. And I love that. I think that's just, it's the coolest thing, because now, like, the expert is, is where the wealth and where the excitement is in people. So if you have an experience, a life experience, or something that you've done in your work, now you can train people and teach people and share people, and you actually become somebody else's survival guide. So I think that's a really neat thing.
Oh, I love that term, be a survival guide to someone else. I might even take that one. I think it's really interesting because I find that the people who have a business that they started for a very specific reason, very purpose driven, they can be the ones who find it harder to pivot because they've started their business because of what they have to offer and what they're wanting to give, right? And then what you're saying is exactly right, that you then have to go, okay, well, I want to give this, but if no one wants to receive it in that way at this time, you don't have a business, you've just got a hobby or a passion. And then being able to go, okay, well, what does my market need? And so, for example, exactly what you've said in your business, which I think is wonderful, and I've done that as well. It's kind of like going, okay, well, how do we adapt our product to what they're actually requiring? And sometimes it can be one product that you just offer in more bite-sized ways, flexible, online, whatever. And then other times it actually means no one's buying this product at the moment, so I'll actually create a whole new business arm. Right. And so that's where the comfort zone just gets totally smashed. Because it's like, well, that's right. I'm really confident in what I do and what I offer in my business. And you have had success in that. So it throws that confidence factor, because then all of a sudden it's like, okay, but you're telling me I now need to, that's right, become a coach in the business of this product that I sell, or be able to, like insurance, offer something completely different. Yeah. How do you help people through that process?
I think that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur. Is that you have more freedom to do that. And I've worked with smaller companies that have been able to do that, and it's been a bit of a process. Just showing them from a monetary standpoint how that could impact their business. Okay, so you can have all of these employees and you can lay them off and nobody works, or you can make these few adjustments and do something just a little bit different, and you still have people that are working, you still have an income. So you just take it small, and it's bit by bit. And I know in my practice, I consult for education and training, so I go into places and look and see where they have needs or where they need to make business adjustments, because I've done a ton of strategy and things like that. I also do human resources because I've been a human resources director, but that's not what I do. But over the past couple of months, I've had the opportunity to reach out and be a virtual HR person to people, small businesses that needed, help with HR, and the people that they worked with before are now out of business because, nobody's working right now. So I'm like, hey, I can do that for you. You need a handbook, I can make handbook. You need compliance, I can do that. Checklist, I can do all that. So, you can just kind of draw on what your experience is, and, just look at the organization. And honestly, I tell everybody, just start small. Just look in your community and see what your community needs. And just, if it's in your ability to meet the needs of the people just right here in your community, just reach out and do that. Because people need things, and they're going to come to you, and they know you. And like you said, they trust you. Yes. And definitely that's a way to kind of build your network with that then. So your small community knows that you do this, and they're going to share it with their friends. And then, and before you know it, you're talking to someone in Australia, right on the other side of the world from you. And
exactly,
that's the beauty of it. So
it is the beauty of it. And I think it's good, wise advice for those listening in to know that sometimes you think, oh, well, I've got to do something completely different, or I've got to have this big shift into a whole new industry. And that's actually the opposite. You've got your market right in front of you. If you've been in an industry, you're obviously there for a reason. You've got a massive skill set in that area. You've got all of your networks are there. It's actually just tapping into what you naturally do and love, and just finding out what their needs and doing a readjustment. So a lot of the pivot is the step before the pivot is actually just the realignment with where you are most suited to being, and then what growth you require to be able to then be able to do that in a whole new way. And it's fun learning new stuff, right? I'm a learning sponge, so I love it. Unlike you. So let's have a little look into your journey then, because those listening in love hearing, the journeys of women. So what has been your business journey, and what have you learned along the way?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you, I've had some really neat experiences along the way. And I started out and I've done human resources. I've worked in medical practices. I was in the military for a while too. So I have that experience. But I'm like you, I love learning. So I have been a lifelong student. And I love going to school and I just, just build degrees and certificates just because I love learning new things. So I think probably one of the most one of the biggest lessons or experiences I've just had has happened within the past couple of weeks, maybe the past 4 or 5 weeks. Just as we're kind of looking at what we're thinking of doing for the next year and planning for 2021 and looking at the way that we've done things in the past, it just kind of occurred to me that there are a ton of things that I could be doing that even I wasn't doing. So I'm just kind of one of those moments where I was speaking with another coach and they were talking about some things that they were going through with their students, an exercise that they were thinking of going through and coaching. And she was like, do you mind if I share it with you? And I'm like, well, no, let's, go ahead for it. So she starts, asking me some questions and she's digging into things. And I'm like, oh, and some of it was personal and some of it was professional. And then I'm like, oh, wow, well, I never thought of things exactly that way. And I especially never examined myself in that particular manner, about, and it was funny for me because I'm a big proponent of personality testing and knowing what your preferences are, what your behaviors are. And I do that for other people, but I really had never in many years done it for myself. So now having somebody do that for me and just kind of shine a light on me, just turn that mirror around and let me really take a look at it to see what was really going on in my business and in my life at this particular time. And I'm thinking, gee whiz, I'm playing small. I'm doing all these things that, that I'm comfortable with, but with just a little bit of stretching. And this is what I teach others, right? Just change just a little bit. Look at what all these other wonderful big things that I could be doing and how many other people I could be serving.
Yes.
So, my biggest lesson that I've learned in my journey is just always keep your eyes open to see where you can serve and look for needs that you can meet along the way, because those oftentimes will open the most beautiful doors and the most amazing opportunities and adventures for you. And those things to me, I feel like are just so enriching to your life, and we always say, well, we talk about success as though it's a destination, but it's truly not. I don't think it is. I think it's a beautiful journey, so I just have learned to be thankful for the things that I have and in the places where I am, and really stop and be aware of what's going on, with the people in my life and the people in my business. And just sometimes I look back and I'm like, man, that's amazing. Look at all the things, look at all the amazing things and the amazing people, and just everything, just the beautiful places and the music and the food. And, just, to me, that's the coolest thing ever. And I think it's a shame that oftentimes, and I'm in my mid 50s now, that we don't do that sooner in life.
I know, exactly.
How wonderful would it be if you were 20 and you could appreciate all those wonderful things and all the experiences that you have, the good and the bad, in your personal life and in business, and how they change you and enrich you and grow you and put you in positions to help other people. Because for me, that's what I love. I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. It's just sharing what you have and bringing people along with you, because that's half the fun of it right there.
So true, so true. I know we're both passionate advocates for, both women in our 50s now, saying, gosh, I wish I knew this earlier and this earlier and that earlier. However, you also have to go through your own journey to learn those messages as a truth for you. So it's a balance, isn't it? What have been your biggest challenges then in that journey? You've been in HR and you're a natural fit. Have you had any specific challenges that you went, I took a path for a little time in there and it wasn't right for me and I knew it wasn't a good fit?
I have done that. I'm a people pleaser, or used to be a people pleaser. Because people oftentimes who love to serve others will serve others and neglect themselves.
Yes.
Or kind of put what their needs or talents or anything that they desire on the back burner. And I think I did that for in business, especially for a long, long time. And actually, that's how I got to my business. because I was in a place where I was working for an organization, and it was a privately owned company. Loved it. Had the most dynamic team I've ever worked with. We were building business. We were serving the community, and then things changed, and we became owned by a corporate entity, and that kind of shifted the whole feel of the organization, the climate, and everything. And some people did really well and they excelled in that environment. But for me, I felt kind of stifled and just boxed in. And if I don't have the freedom to be creative or innovative or impactful, then I don't do well. And so I think that's
Yeah.
what,
You're
that's kind of,
caged.
yeah, it really did. So, I, I just started thinking, well, I'm helping my friends do these things in training, and I'm helping this business do this kind of on the side. And I thought, I wonder if I could really just do this,
Yeah.
So the next thing I know, I'm standing up a little flag with a name on it, and I have a business, and now I have a business, and it's great, and I get to do the things that I love to do and the things that I'm good at, and I do get to make a large impact on people and the way that they live and the way that they think about business. So it's really it's been a blessing.
Mm. I think you've nailed it on that moment that you realize I'm really an entrepreneur, or even a solopreneur at the beginning, So that feeling of it is like an entrapment of I'm good at what I do. That doesn't mean that you're not, but you're always serving someone else. You're probably going overboard because you're dedicated and you've got all these great qualities, but you then give and give and give, and for someone else's gain, which is, it's not as if we don't want them all to do well. And then having that moment of, oh my goodness, I could do this for myself. What was the feeling there? Because it often comes with an excitement. It's a real light bulb moment. I wonder if I'd be capable of setting up my own business. What sort of skills do I need? Very big change, obviously, and risk and an emotional roller coaster of what would it take for me to back myself and then set up my own business. But then it suddenly gets super exciting. It's like a drug, right? Of like, I could do this and this and this and this. But then saying that, you can then easily within a year be burnt out because you're then spending way more hours than you did before when you were being a servant to others, and you're also then massively in debt. So it's like this, it's a really great, I think that those words that you use, freedom, freedom and opportunity and continual growth and all of that are wonderful, and they activate. And I do both. I work as an eye health charity CEO and also on a couple of boards. And then I also am an entrepreneur in my business. And so I've coached so many people over the years that have gone through all these cycles. How was it for you when you suddenly went, you worked in HR for 25 years, you suddenly go, oh my gosh, I could do this myself, and put up my little sign. But what was the process like?
Well, I often tell people I'm a person of faith. So I always say it was like a holy push. It was like, the Lord was like, here, it's time for you to do something different now. Get out of the nest and go. But yes, there was a huge level of excitement and enthusiasm. And then me saying, why didn't I do this earlier? I'm so passionate now. I have so much fire. I'm ready to go and do this.
Yeah.
But it is a process. And so for me, because I already told you, I'm a planner and a strategist. So, I wanted to be sure that I wouldn't be the person that was burned out in a year or broke in a year. So I sat down with everything that I thought I wanted to do in that business. And I just kind of jotted, I'm a big mind mapper. I love like getting everything that's in here because I have monkey mind is what I call it. Just goes
All
crazy.
over the place. Yeah.
It's all over the place. So I got everything out of my monkey mind onto a piece of paper and then kind of organized it in kind of compartments, just compartmentalized the things that I could do. And then I sat down with a calendar and kind of strategically put things on a calendar. And then I looked at my money, which I should have done first, but I did last. And just to make sure that I knew what I needed to do, that I'm a big proponent of setting goals and taking steps toward those goals. So I think that kind of helped me be a little more successful than some in that area, because I was very strategic. Even though I knew it was what I wanted to do, I started kind of baby stepping toward it. So even when I was in the other job, In the evenings, I would go home and just meticulous planning,
Yes.
and just make, start to do a couple of little things that I could do in the evenings or on the weekend. So I could just kind of baby step and just kind of dip my toes into the water to
Yeah.
see, how it felt. And, it just grew from there, so it was, just kind of slow and gradual. It wasn't a big, I'm through with you, I'm taking my box and I'm going, away kind of thing when I went with the other job. It was just kind of, okay, I'm doing this weekend and doing that this weekend. And it was funny because people would see me, because I'm advertising, here in the community with people that I work with, and they're like, "What is this thing you're doing? What is this place you're speaking at? Who are these people you're talking to?" So there was really kind of a neat thing, but it's been a beautiful progression into something that's kind of cool. And the neat thing for me is now my former employers, actually two of them, actually I consult for them, so it's really kind of cool.
That is a win-win, isn't it? Well done, you. So, what have you been your biggest joys, after this big journey of, being an employee, setting up your own business, being able to grow it, and you just love it and you just look so happy in it? It was really rewarding. Now you get to help other people. What are the biggest joys? If you could sort of tap into, okay, well, what two or three things have been you just went, oh, just so happy that I did this?
Well, I think one of the things is definitely writing books, because I've had the opportunity to be part of a couple of anthologies just this year and have two books published. And then that leads to speaking to people about the things that we're writing about. And now I've got three books that are coming out next year, and I've always wanted to be a writer, and I've always wanted to be a best-selling writer. So now I'm a two-time best-selling author.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to what 2021 brings. So that's definitely been a good thing. So I've been able to kind of bring those things into my business, because what I'm talking about is finding your voice and kind of knowing where you fit in the world and what you really want to do, and then how to actually step out and launch your business. So those are the two things that I've been writing about. And then for next year, it's a little bit more of the same, but on a personal level, like how do you overcome the things that hold you down in business, but how do you overcome personally some things that hold you back? Like when I realized I was playing small, but now I've had 25 years of this behavior and this serving other people and being the people pleaser. How do you turn that around and then become a successful business person? So just having an opportunity to do things like that, things that I've always wanted to do, but never really had an opportunity to do or the time to do. So those have been some really good things. And then just speaking with people and meeting people like you all around the world that are doing similar things, and just going out in the world every day and making it a better place and crushing it to help other people, and, just enjoying life, because we only get one time. So we should enjoy it, right?
So right there, and I think this podcast is called Memoirs of Successful Women, and that's why I love interviewing you, because you're just demonstrating all those aspects of success, and as you said, it's defined in your own terms, in your own ways, but being able to get to a stage in your career that you've had that journey, and then now you're even comfortable enough in your business to then be able to go, well, I actually am an authority in this, so I'm putting out books, and being able to then you're able to then blend that then with your coaching and your training, that you're the actual author on this topic. I think that's just such a beautiful demonstration of, and you're not stressed about it. You're actually enjoying it. I think that's the difference. That's the barometer, isn't it? When it's
right.
Super, you will always have those deadline dates of, oh my goodness, where did the hours go? Excuse me, but it's also it's like a joy, the joy comes out of you and then says, I'm loving this, or I can actually, to be able to unpack it and to be putting it into a book that other people get to benefit from. Right. So how about you give a plug for your books? What are your books called, and how can people find them?
Sure, absolutely. So the first one is called Trailblazers Who Lead, and it's just about that. We had a visionary author, and this is really neat way that this book came about, because there is a person here in my local community who has for years run a very successful women's conference every year. And so I've gone to that, been a part of it, have volunteered, and I've known her, but I've never really known her. It's like I've known of her, but I've never worked with her or anything. And I'm, just nice and friendly. So she had an anthology going, and a lot of my friends were writing chapters in it. They were like, you really should consider this. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's for me. I don't really have anything to say. I don't have anything. And so a few days before the deadline to cut off, it's just like one of my friends was like, Sheila, I really think you need to do this. So I messaged her. Her name is Kern Cherry. So I messaged Kern and was like, I asked her, I said, do you have any places left? I know you're getting down to the wire. And she was like, well, you've got 24 hours. If you can write your chapter in 24 hours, part of it. And I was like, okay, I like a challenge.
Okay.
I can do this. Yeah. So I'm in. So I did it. And it was such a neat thing because all the stories, while they all were so very different, they're about women who overcame things to start new things, either a new business, a new church, a nonprofit, served in some way in their community. And it was all about people who were not in the front. So this was Kern's, her desire was to push people who were in the back of the room doing these really cool things to the front and put them on stage. And she did such a beautiful job of that. And she made, we all are doing now collaborative projects. So it's like we really became a sisterhood from that book. And it's been the coolest thing ever that I've experienced. So Trailblazers Who Lead, and it's just about that. It's about women doing great and amazing things that, you really wouldn't notice if somebody hadn't put it out there for you.
Yeah.
And then the second is an anthology with Dr. Cheryl Wood, who is a speaker coach and just international, and she's wonderful and just a powerhouse. I just love her. But it's called Courageous Enough to Launch. And it's, again, talking about the things that you overcome to step out and launch your own business. So that's been really good. And then I have a new one coming in January. It's another anthology. It's called Finally Free. And it's talking about the personal struggles that you overcome to step out and do things that you wouldn't normally do. So it's been an interesting year for books for me. So it's good.
Super, super exciting. Terrific. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Tell me a little bit about who are you helping at the moment? What sort of struggles, what problem are you solving? You've got a variety of courses. That's it. You've pivoted a lot. If you look at your website, you can see that you're now offering a lot of different opportunities. Where is most of the demand at the moment, and how are you helping solve those problems for people?
Probably my two largest ones are HR related. So just being compliant in a time when things are so uncertain.
Yeah.
Just making sure that everybody's kind of checking the blocks to do the right thing. And then definitely wellness. So I had a big demand for online type yoga and Tai Chi.
Yeah.
So I never thought I would really do that, being a yoga instructor, but I was like, okay, you guys want yoga by Zoom? Okay, here we go. Let's do it. So those probably have been the two biggest things that I've done. And then honestly, I've had a lot of, my third thing would be just helping people get started in business. So launching new businesses. So it's been exciting.
Yeah, it is super exciting. And I love that, because you would never think, after me introducing you as an HR expert who then has your own consulting firm, you wouldn't be thinking you'd come to your website and find an online yoga course. And that actually demonstrates, but that's your side passion. And this is the thing, once we start getting we get our own personal brand, and people then who are then in your community and know that, and they'll know you're a yoga instructor. Or I take people on fitness hikes, for example, because they go, well, where did that come from? Because you're unique. But those people in your demographic will then go, I know that and I like it. And that, to me, that's business, but it's also balance. And I love the way Sheila is so calm, and she uses that to empower her in a way to then even be better at business. So I love that people who are thinking, oh, how random can you go? You can actually go pretty random if the demand's there, if that's what people are wanting, particularly now, during a pandemic, and you're working at home and you go, well, I can't do all the things I've done before. Then, that's right, an online yoga session, why not? And then you also have demonstrated that, through that, you also then get the personal connections. And as you and I know very well, it's a lot about, you can teach content in a course and the how-tos, but once you get that connection, and often it's doing the sport or the social or the other things, allows you to really connect with the person in a way that actually helps you. It builds that trust, it builds that relationship, or the relational factors that help them, on that journey to building their business and becoming successful in their own terms. So I totally love that. And also, during for those people who are launching a business in a pandemic, there are whole new factors. In some ways, it actually is great for their future proofing. If you can do that in a pandemic and set it up in a way that actually, is a global, everyone is potentially a global business now, that actually, although very hard, financially and attracting customers and bits and pieces, in the long term is really great that other people are struggling with that because they have to now learn to pivot, whereas the new businesses are.
That's what they were born in.
They're designed to be, right? It's like, I'm ready, I'm agile. I'm a modern day business. So I love the journeys that we get to share with people. And I've just loved our conversation today. I think you're a beautiful, beautiful person. And I love how you've used your whole background and who you are and many factors of your personal brand and faith and passion for helping others to be able to achieve the business success that you've had. And also be, like growing yourself still, which is what I'm doing, putting out books, speaking globally, meeting other people. And I think that's really important for people to know that, you don't, those people who have learned something and then become a coach and then they just coach that, if they're not, we've always got to be lifelong learning, right? And so it's learning, but it's also, learning about ourselves and learning that we have so much more to give. It never stops, right?
Yes.
So we are all on a journey and very happy to share that with others. So fantastic. Well, thank you for being on my program today. How can people find you, Sheila? What's your website?
They can find me at www, sorry, I'll say it slow because it's long, gulfcoasttraining.org. So, and that's where my books are. That's where my courses are. And I have tons of freebie things there for folks if anybody's interested in checklists or starter lists for new businesses or learning to tell your story and start speaking, that sort of thing. So there are tons of things there. And if you need me, you can email me through the site. And I'm all over social media if anybody's there. So just Sheila Farr. And please contact me. I love connecting with people. And I love it. So if there's any way I can serve anybody, I'm happy to.
Fantastic. Well, I do know that my listeners, first of all, love a freebie. Who doesn't? So go to gulfcoastconsulting.org. Check out those freebies that will just get you started. And if this conversation has resonated with you and you've connected with Sheila, definitely reach out, send her an email. All of your details will be on my podcast platform on YouTube and also via my website. And I wish you all the best in your future success. And thank you for all of your sharing today. It's been just delightful.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to following you for many years to come. So I appreciate you and your platform as well. So thank you for sharing that with me today.
Thanks, Sheila. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Memoirs of Successful Women. You can find me at anniegibbins.com, where you can download my free resources, get connected on social, and check out my online magic transformation program. If you love this show, feel free to subscribe to future episodes and, of course, share it with your friends. I'll see you again soon, and until then, happy podcasting.